Now, do I press it or?
What?
Now, what do I do? Do I press it?
What color is the button?
Red.
Start talking. It's recording.
It's already recording.
Yes.
Hello, this is Kathleen Nicole O'Neill for House of Cartomancy, and today I am very excited to share with you a very special unboxing that I've been meaning to do for a while, and it is the Wise Fool Tarot. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what kind of drew me to this deck. Basically, one thing that I really loved about this deck was the Hierophant card. And the Hierophant in this deck, when I saw it, I just knew I had to have it. The Hierophant is one of those cards where when I see it, a lot of times it gives me a feel for whether this deck is right for me or not. It's a card I really connect with, and I absolutely love the way the Hierophant is portrayed in this deck. And so that was what really made me feel like I absolutely had to have this deck. The deck is the Wise Fool Tarot, and it's 85 cards with a 140-page book, and it is made by Cade Burkhammer. And there's a foreword by R.J. Stewart, it says on the front. And I'll show you the packaging. You can see it here. Here's what the side looks like. Here's the other side. I kind of like how they have like some of the cards on the side so you can see what some of the cards look like. And I see my Hierophant there, which we'll get to in a minute. And here's what the back looks like. It's a very interesting deck. One thing that I learned about it prior to purchasing it is that it more or less follows the traditional tarot structure. However, it does have 2 devils, 2 worlds, 1 muggle card, and 4 different fool cards for each of the 4 suits. So each suit gets a different fool. So in any event, that is what you have. So without further ado, let's get to the unboxing of the Wise Fool Tarot by Cade Burkhammer. Now, traditionally in these videos, people do not unbox with scissors or anything like that. They just kind of rip at it. There goes the paper. Okay, and here is the deck. And what does the back of the box say? The Wise Fool Tarot by Cade Burkhammer. The Wise Fool Tarot is designed to evoke deeply personal contemplative stories that can encourage awareness and influence the evolution of the psyche. Tarot offers inquisitive readers a chance to discover options for mental, spiritual, and physical change. The archetypal imagery and concepts transcend worldwide language and cultures and are meant to cross boundaries and dogmas, symbolic of the human condition and the collective unconscious. Tarot creates a gateway to intuition and reveals meaningful paths that can exist positively and honestly within this rich, contradicting, exuberant world. The Wise Fool Tarot exists to spark dormant wisdom, hidden truths, and to demonstrate the responsibility for new freedoms and the growing concept of life. Live fully. So this is a very nice box that comes in. Very nice box. You can store your deck in. I really like that. I'll definitely be storing the deck in this box. Very sturdy. Here is the little book. And The pages are very glossy. There's a nice glossy sheen to every page. You have a foreword by R.J. Stewart. You have an introduction, ways to use the tarot, the poker deck, the 5-direction spread, the Rosicrucian or Celtic cross spread, the cross, the column, the wild card, another version of placement and meaning, about tarot, the card back, major arcana, and she gives a meaning for each of the cards in the deck. I think it's a she. Let's see. Does it say? He. Okay, Cade is a he. Okay, Cade is a he. So he gives information about all of the different cards in the deck, little tiny pictures of the cards, kind of a standard tarot guidebook, but because this is kind of an unusual deck, it's got some extra cards, you know, you're going to want to use this. So, pretty good quality. I'm pleased with that. So here's something else that the cards come in this wrapping, which is probably a good thing because it means they're very securely stored. And I got it. Woo! Finally, we get to the cards. We have deflowered the cards. This is what the backs of the cards look like. It's like the core of an apple, and there's some serpentine imagery. I really like that. I think that's really interesting. This is the Muggle card. I like that it depicts an interracial family. I definitely love to see that. I'm curious to kind of learn a little bit more about what he sees as far as the purpose of this card, because this is not a standard part of the tarot deck. I'm not going to show every single card in the deck. However, I am going to show the ones that speak to me the most and that, you know, stand out for me, because I believe that when you get a new deck, you know, there should be some surprises, but you should also, when you watch an unboxing video, get a flavor of the deck to know whether it's something you would like to purchase or invest more interest in or not. Here is the Fool, kind of the emblem of this whole thing. Okay, and this is the Hierophant. This is the card that made me absolutely have to have this deck. And I will talk about why that is. So you see a little child here, and he's wearing a t-shirt that has an anarchy symbol on it and a Pope hat, and he's sitting on top of all of these books, and the books are a variety of different religious traditions. You have Tarot, Torah, Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the New Testament, the Holy Bible. And I absolutely loved this, and this spoke to me on such a deep level. I'm a youth liberationist, and basically kind of to give a mini lesson about youth liberation in the middle of a tarot unboxing video. Basically, youth liberationists believe that whenever we empower young people to be more autonomous and make more of their own decisions and to have more control over their own lives, they're able to flourish more. And it's a more just world. And it's a better situation all around. And so that's a huge part of who I am as a youth liberationist. And so this young person being depicted as the Hierophant, which is a card that's so dear to me, as somebody that is very interested in philosophy, that has a career in academia, that has a background in philosophy and religious studies. My parents were both priests in a church that I grew up in. So I loved this little child wearing the Pope hat with the Anarchy t-shirt, sitting on top of all of the books of all of these various wisdom traditions from all over the world. And the anarchy symbol spoke to me as well. This isn't something that comes up a lot in tarot videos, but I identify as an anarchist politically. A left libertarian would probably be the best way to label me politically, as far as, where I sort of fall on the map. And so this card, when I just saw the confluence of the Pope hat and the anarchy symbolism and the various religious books, because my undergraduate major was religion. That was history, political science, and religion. Those were things that I studied. And so to see this card, it was just it just really spoke to me as a youth liberationist, as a philosopher, as somebody that, has always been very interested in religion and spirituality. As an anarchist, I just absolutely loved this card, and I knew that I had to have this deck whenever I saw it. So this may be my all-time favorite Hierophant, and I'm just crazy about this card. Justice is interesting. You have this person standing over the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and lately we don't seem to be getting a lot of justice coming from our political leaders, it seems. And there's something kind of the carnivalesque or theatricality about this individual. And I think it kind of speaks to the sense that, maybe a lot of our politics and a lot of our institutions that are supposed to provide justice, sometimes there's something of a sham. Sometimes there may be a little bit of a carnival act. So I like this card. This is interesting. I'm going to have to journal with it and think with it and do some work with it. So there are 2 devil cards. Here's one of them. Very interesting imagery. And here's the second devil. Here's the tower, which I thought was a very evocative image, and it's meant to symbolize New York after 9/11, and I thought, what a perfect representation of the tower. I really liked that. I love the sun. This is just such a cheerful fucking child. He just looks so chipper and cheerful and adorable. I think he might be some kind of insect, like a butterfly. I don't know. He's adorable. I love this. Here are the 2 world cards. One is Earth, And you see Earth is kind of crying out in desperation. Sort of a ecological catastrophe type theme, you see. And world, which is a much more traditional, positive, holistic interpretation of the world in tarot. So apparently there is a Fool for every one of the four suits in this deck. So for the suit of swords, this is what your Fool looks like. He looks a lot like the Joker in Batman, or It, from Stephen King. I absolutely love this Ace of Swords with the Buddha. This image just jumps out at me as somebody that has spent many hours sometimes poring over philosophy text or other text and, studying and thinking, do I understand this? What the hell's going on here? I really love this image. I think it really speaks to that. I love that Three of Swords. I think it's very interesting that the Five of Swords here involves a woman, and she's got this corset, and it looks like she's got these men that maybe have stabbed her. And I think of Andrea Dworkin and Catherine McKinnon and some of their work on prostituted women and, women's oppression at the hands of men and things like that. That's what this card makes me think of. I love this. Makes me think of Banksy, but with a Buddhist vibe. The Minor Arcana in this deck is amazing. I'm just loving the Minor Arcana. Here's the Statue of Liberty for the Eight of Swords. Now, I'm not quite sure what's going on in this card. That is the, I suppose, Knight of Swords. He looks like he's got this book, and he's yelling and screaming to a lot of youth. And there's a rocket going off in the background. I don't know if he's like delivering a harsh lecture about the need to stay in school and say no to drugs or what's going on there, but it's a very evocative image, very interesting. I'm going to be doing a lot of journaling with that and a lot of thinking about that card. I like tarot decks that make you think. I like to have tarot decks where you look at images and sometimes you don't immediately understand what's going on, but you know that there's something going on and you're going to have to think about it. I think that's one of the joys of tarot, and that's something that I really like about this deck. Here's the Fool for the Suite of Cups, a much more happy and beautiful figure. This is a feminine figure and a person of color, which I like. Surfing and having a good time. The woman on the Four of Cups reminds me of Harriet Tubman, with that strength and grace. I like the King of Cups. He looks like a Mardi Gras king. And here's the Fool for the Suit of Wands. This is the Two of Wands, I guess. And it looks like she's about to put on some kind of drag performance. Very interesting. I like that the King of Wands has this lovely, large dragon lizard next to him. And here's the Fool for the Suit of Pentacles. I really like the Ace of Pentacles card. Very beautiful. I like this take on the Five of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles depicts somebody in a wheelchair, which is cool. I'm all for seeing more disability inclusivity in tarot decks. The Eight of Pentacles is a very strange image. Going to have to think and journal with that one more. I love this Queen of Pentacles. She is a very rotund woman, and she's very proud, and she's such a strong and fierce protector. I really love this card. I love this Queen of Pentacles. I just feel such a connection to her. And you have your King of Pentacles here. This is a beautiful card as well. Oh, so that's been the unboxing of the Wise Fool Tarot. And now I'm going to have to box it right back up. But I have to say, that deck is really, really interesting. It's a deck that's very challenging. You will go through it, and sometimes you won't know quite what you're seeing. So I'm hoping that the guidebook will provide some insight into some of the artistic choices that were made. And I think that it will. But I absolutely love this deck. I think it's going to be a very thought-provoking deck and a very interesting deck that will teach me a lot about myself and about other people and about the world. And so I'm excited to start working with it. And so this has been Kathleen O'Neill for House of Cartomancy. Check out some of the other videos on the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Bye.